I am here to speak, not to teach, not to preach, on selflessness. And we know that Hypp is true. And the theme for this month is giving. So I will be speaking on giving, but actually it's going to be on selflessness. So, but I'll be touching giving, and at the same time I'll be touching other characteristics of selflessness. But before I do that, when I was preparing for this, I got an inclination, and there's a song that I learned when I was in school. I think it was my part 1 in the university, and I just feel urged that that song be played, that it probably may help someone. Of course, I'm going to build my speaking on it, but I think it may help someone. And also, I also want to believe that I am speaking to a youth church. Is that correct? And also, I learned something also from Kenneth Hagin, that in everything that he says or in everything that he teaches, he comes up with practical examples. Is that correct too? If Kenneth Hagin comes up with a scripture, e.g., maybe John 3:16, Kenneth Hagin will give you a practical illustration to that John 3:16. Is that correct? So, I have also come to a conclusion that today we will do, of course, scriptural references at the same time. We will have practical examples so that it can complement the things that I said. Is that okay? So can we have the song first, please?
I have journeyed through the long dark night, out on the open sea. My faith alone, sight unknown, and yet his eyes were watching me. The anchor holds, though the ship is battered. The anchor holds, though the sails are torn. I have fallen on my knees as I faced the raging seas. The anchor holds, in spite of the storm. I've had visions, I've had dreams, I've even held them in my hand. But I never knew they would slip right through, like they were only grains of sand. The anchor holds, though the ship is battered. The anchor holds, though the sails are torn. I though the ship's been battered, the anchor holds, though the sails are torn. I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas, the anchor holds in spite of the storm. I have fallen on my knees as I face the raging seas, the anchor holds in spite of the storm.
Thank you. Sorry, that was 5 minutes of my time. Shall we better bow down our head for prayers? And so, Father, we thank you for your word. Bible says the entrance of your word giveth light and understanding to the simple. Lord, I declare this morning that the things that will be spoken through me, Lord, let it be a blessing, viable, and for use in your kingdom, and to us as a church, as a unit, and to individuals in the name of Jesus. So, I'm going to be speaking on selflessness, like I said. And I think I also came up with like 10 commandments of selflessness that has helped me over time. So I actually define selflessness as your concern with the needs and the wishes of others with the focus on others and not on your own need. That's selflessness. As in, you're not thinking about any other person. You're not thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about others. Is that a correct definition? That's being selfless. And also, like I said, I had listed like 10 commandments that has helped me over time. And even the song that was played will reflect in one of the characters we're going to discuss about. Before I go on, I want to ask another question. How many Mephibosheth do we have in the Bible? Can somebody help me out? How many Mephibosheth do we have in the Bible? Let's talk now. It's not one. I know you'll be shocked. It's not one. 2. Can you mention them? Not David. Jonathan's son. Okay, anyway, when we get there, there are 2 Mephibosheth in the Bible. So, the first definition I have here is on selflessness is that happiness doesn't come through selfishness, but through selflessness. So everything you do comes back to you. Everything you do comes back to you. These things are what has helped me over time. That song has helped me over time. At least the first time I listened to that song was 1995. You said, That's the truth. That's the first time I listened to that song. Number 2, I said you don't need a reason to help people. You don't need to have a reason to help people. Number 3, I said to come with this first before we go into the scriptures. Number 3, I said helping one person might not change the world, but it could change the world for that person. Number 4, I said we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Number 5, no one has ever become poor by giving. Number 6, life is a boomerang. What you give, you get. Number 7, we rise by lifting others. Number 8, I'm going to dwell more on the last 3. Number 8, he said, I learned to give, not because I have much, but because I know exactly how it feels to have nothing. Number 9, when God blesses you financially, don't raise your standard of living, but raise your standard of giving. Number 10, at the end of it all, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you have lifted up, who you've made better, and it's all about giving back. So I came up with those 10 commandments because over time, these things have helped me. But now that I've explained selflessness and I've given you quotes on selflessness, I would now want us to go into the scriptures. God in the beginning has been the one that has been given. There are a lot of scriptures that talks about and God gave and God gave and God gave. So God has actually demonstrated in several ways to us how to be selfless. In everything God has done, in everything that He has showed us, even in our relationship with Him, in our conversation with Him, God has shown us to be selfless. If you look at Genesis 28:4, the Bible says, and God gave unto Jacob the blessing of Abraham. Exodus 31:15, and God gave the 10 commandments to Moses. Joshua 1:15, and God gave them the promise of the land that He has promised unto them. 2 Chronicles 20:20, the Bible says, and God gave Jehoshaphat rest. Daniel 5:8-17, and God gave the kingdom to Nebuchadnezzar. 1 Samuel 10:9, and God gave Saul a new heart. So God has been in the ministry of giving. Even in the Old New Testament, but in Ephesians 4:10, Bible says, and unto some He gave pastors, evangelists, teachers, prophets. He said, for the perfecting of the work of the saints, for the perfecting of the work of the saints, for the edification of the body of Christ. So God has been in the making or in the habit of giving to people. But above all, He couldn't do anything again. He gave the summary of it, and He gave His own only Son, John 3:16. He could not do anything again. He was like, well, I have given them this, I've given them the land, I've given them this, I give them that. But so, let me now give them all encompassing. So He gave His Son, His only begotten Son, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave. So when I went to look out for the meaning of the only begotten, in Greek, it is translated as monogene. Mono means alone and only. The genes means the race and the stock. So combining both of them together, you tend to find out that God gave the only kind of stock that He had. The only kind of stock that He had. There was no remnant. If you are into inventory management, they tell you to count stock. And you get to where you have the bin card, and what you're seeing is only one. And you can't issue it out because it's your only one. So God gave the only kind of stock He had. Jesus was the only person in His race. When they are trying to do, is this person belongs to this race or something. But so God could not do anything, but He gave His only stock. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And after Jesus came, Bible makes us understand that Jesus decided to show us what selflessness was all about. And so we start talking about the characteristics of being selfless. In John, is it 15:13? Bible says, no greater love than a man would have than this, to give his life for his friends. He gave His life for us. There's no greater love than that. The Bible calls Him a man of sorrow. There was nothing Jesus could do than what He has done. In Isaiah 53:3, the Bible calls Him a man of sorrow. In Luke 9:58, the Bible says He was a man that had no place to lay His head. So He was selfless. But interestingly, when I looked at all those things, one of the things that shocked me most, despite all that was done, despite all that we did in being resistant to salvation, the Bible says in John 13:1 that He loved us even to the very end. That's very catching. He loved us even to the very end. That's one of the characteristics of selflessness. So my CEO called me one day and said that there's a guy that we want you to fire around 2 a.m. So if you're in top management, these are the things you experience. He said, I want you to fire this guy. I asked him, I said, sir, what exactly has he done? He said, nothing. You just have to. I said, well, sir, it may be a difficult thing. He said, no, he has to go. That it's your call. You're in operations, you're head of operations, he has to go. I couldn't sleep that night. So I thought about it. I spoke to one of my colleagues who was an Indian. I was Indian at that point in time. I asked him, I said, see what the CEO said around 2 a.m. The guy said, the way Indians talk. The guy said, Dele, I don't know what you are talking. Is he your father's son? You fire him, let him go. I went to another person who was South African. I said, see, what this man said. He said, Dele, that is the game at the top. Flush him out. So, I had a dream. This, I have never told my wife. I had a dream. And in that dream, I found out that the guy's wife was pregnant. And the kind of ministration that I got ministered to in that dream was that if I lay the guy off and the baby cries, that at every single cry of that baby, and the guy cannot feed that baby, that would aggravate suffering in my life. That's the dream I had. So, the 2 days after that, I went to meet the CEO. I said, sir, it can't be a done deal. That you need to give me reasons why we need to fire this guy and get it documented. That it makes more sense like that. So he said, well, if you cannot do that, then you have to leave. So what would you do if you're in my shoes? My wife was not working. I grew up in a poverty-stricken environment. And now you have an official car, you have a driver, you have everything to yourself. But all they ask you to do is fire a guy. Listen to me, if I fire the guy, nobody will know. If they come up and tell them it's management decision, everybody's management. But I did an exchange. I quit the job. So, and I remember that, I won't forget that day. As I went to hand over my laptops, my official key, I was crying. I gave them their key, gave them everything. I entered Danfo to my house that day. Of course, I had a car. So I entered Danfo to my house that day and I came back. So I left it. It's a tough decision. That's why I said I have made up my mind that I will be practical and I'll let you know that, look, in life, let me tell you something. I said to make it very simple, not to quote much scriptures and talk about Bible, but be very realistic. See, the life that we live, the things that we are taught here are what we're supposed to practicalize every day. They are confronting. Except you want to deceive yourself. They are confronting. So I left. 6 years after that, these guys became help for me in ShopRite. When I started supplying them. 6 years after that. So imagine if I had laid them off. If I had laid him off, maybe they would have asked me to go too. And at the end of the day, we will now meet outside. So anytime any of my boys go to ShopRite, you're like, Ogami, one for sure. You know, things like that. So, but the truth is this. If you're not willing to give up something because you're selfish, that thing will give you up. It will give you up one day. So, in life, I want us to look within ourselves and see how you can be selfless to the things of the kingdom. It doesn't have to be the church. Jesus was doing to everybody. He reached out to everybody. Even Paul said to the Jew, I became the Jew, to the Gentile, I became the Gentile, to those without the law, I became without the law. He was trying to reach everybody. That was selflessness. So we need to look inward and look at where have I missed it. In fact, I remember when I came, one of my Igbo guy friend told me, he said, you are a very useless guy. I don't know whether it's your father's firstborn or your mother's lastborn. You don't know him from Adam. You should have just allowed the guy to go. I said, well, that's fine. But it's in record that I just want to sleep and wake up with peace of mind. I want to go around Lagos with peace of mind, not having any guilt or sign of wickedness. So we need to be selfless. And you can only be selfless only when you're immersed in the world. You understand that, look, this is an example that Jesus has wanted you to live with. I would give another example. Like I said, it's going to be more of examples and speaking. Recently, like 4 weeks ago, I didn't tell my wife about this. Somebody came to meet me, and no one, they leave my wife. We know how to understand ourselves. Yeah, so somebody came and said that a boy wants to have his birthday. I just overheard them talking about it, that a boy wants to have his birthday. And that they have 3 children. The boy was the third. That the first child, they struggled to buy cake for his birthday. The second child, on his first birthday too, they struggled to buy cake. He said this third one too, the father is even crying, they don't even have to buy cake. You know, I got angry in my spirit. You know why? I did not cut cake until when I was 40 years old. My wife was the one that broke that jinx. I'm telling you a true life story. I did not cut cake until when I was 40 years old. In fact, I didn't know she was going to do it. I just came one day, I saw the cake and she had called people, she had organized birthday. I could not hold back tears. The first cake I cut in my life was when I was 40 years old. So I was like, Allah Maji, I will break this curse for these people. So I called the person that did a wedding cake. I said, Auntie Ebu, take this cake to Magboro. Do one delivery for them. Do a double decker for the boy. To hell with the cost of this thing. Today we'll break it. So you need to be selfless. They didn't call me into it. Now, I'll tell you why I did that also. I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking before you today because somebody made it to happen. When I was growing up, I told you how poor we were. My mother could not afford 120 naira to buy jam form. It was that bad. Somebody looked at me and gave me that 120 naira with no cost. And said, you crying? I said, I have money. I said this. The jam is closing the next day. He said, okay, I'll give you 120. That's all I. And I said, how would you get to? That time it was Hawksworth in Ikoyi. He said, how would you get to Hawksworth? I said, just give me the money first. You know, I got to Oxford. I didn't pay. If you guys have grown up, in that age of ours, I did not pay. When I got to Jibowu, I took Molue to Yaba. The guy asked, where's the money? I said, he should collect at the back. I came down at Yaba. I took Oyigbo. The guy asked me again. I said, at the back. By the time he came back, I stopped at Adekunle. I took another one. That's how I got to Oyigbo. Sorry, that was those days. I won't tell you I got to Ikoyi since he has but I got to Ikoyi. But so somebody did that. In fact, the person that did that today, I do not know where he is. That's how I got into the university. So we need to look inwards and see how we can affect generations, around us. So the second thing I would probably talk about is giving. Is giving. Okay, should I give this last example? An example is okay to give. They told me my first assignment was to fire the head driver. Now I'm letting you know how management is. If you're middle management, you're joking, you're just playing. If you're at supervisory level, you're just joking. If you're on top management, see, when I was in one of those companies, we have meetings in the night. My wife knows. We go to VI, hotels. My CEO, we have meetings in hotels in the night. That's when management have meetings. Uche can testify, Uche can testify. Have I said it like? That's when they have meetings. We'll now come back the next day. We'll disseminate it to middle managers, to supervisors. So they said that was my first assignment, to fire the head driver. So I asked them, what has he done? They said the guy sent a quote to buy Ayers for 3.8 Tokumbo short film. But he actually got them for 2.4. And on one deal, he made 1.2 times 20. So, but the truth is this: I wasn't there when the performer invoice was this and everything. So I told them I can't do it. I was not there. I don't know about it. So within me, I knew my days were numbered. Immediately, I knew. But some people will look at it like, top management, this salary and this. I said I wasn't cut off for that. Today I can walk on the street of Lagos doing anything. Yes, the man was eventually fired. But also I learned a lesson in not taking what is not yours. Bible says wealth that was stolen. Bible says it will develop wings. And do what? I saw the man 3 years after he was fired. I saw him doing kabu kabu at Bagada. I went to buy pizza at Domino's Bagada. I saw him. He was doing kabu kabu with all the money he used to. So I was like, does it make sense? But I'm actually saying this based on selflessness. Like I said, I want to do more of practical so that you understand it. So in true giving, we know the story of Abraham in Genesis 22, 1-14, how he offered his only son. How many of us would get to that position and do it? I don't want to go deep into all this. How many of us would do it? Exodus 32:32. After the children of Israel sinned against God by molten carving images with Aaron's this thing, Moses had to tell God. He said, God, if you will not forgive these people, he said, blot my name out of your book. Who would do that? You know they have sinned. Oh, they have sinned. It's not anything. But he said, look, you need, as he said, blot me out of your book. That's a selfless act. That's a selfless act. Selfless act in giving. It's not when you're giving, it's not only your seed that you give. We're also supposed to give our time. You know, we had the men's meeting gathering yesterday, and we discussed a lot of things, and we had come to a conclusion that we don't give our time to the things of the kingdom or to ourselves. A lot of things are happening in the world, but most of us are not selfless again. We're consumed by our own thinking, was consumed by the things that we're pursuing. But, there's a law. Seek first, these things will come. Seek first, these things will come. But these things will come first. That's what we do. And we seek last. We seek the things that should come last as first, misplaced priorities. So it's very important that when we are being selfless, we should give our time. Look beside you. A lot of people in church that needs to be ministered to in different ways. In different ways. In different ways. It's a youth church. Scripture says, remember the Creator in the days of your youth. That's when you have energy. That's where you can get all these things from. These things that we begin to practicalize are not the things that we got in one day. Let me shock you today also. While I decide to be regular with weekly service, I used to give excuses that I'm always busy. And anytime I come, I see Mama here. And I'm like, this Mama does not miss weekly service. She comes early. But please give Mama a round of applause. I'm serious. Mama, I looked at her like, these things are not magic. They are not magic. They are not magic. These things she has learned or cultivated from the days of her youth. That's how she can still do it. So I said, okay, well, if you would start with 2, Wednesdays first in a month, twice in a month before you pass it. She was one that encouraged me. I think my time is, I've given so much examples, so I think I'll just quickly talk about the last person. Rizpah. How many of us have heard about Rizpah in the Bible? R-I-Z-P-A-H. Rizpah. R-I-P-A-H. R-I-Z-P-A-H. Okay. That's the second person I want to talk about. And it is in 2 Samuel. We're not going to read it. I'll just summarize it. It's a long read. It's in 2 Samuel 2:21, 1-14. You can read it when you get home. Now, this woman is, was Saul's concubine. One of Saul's concubine. That gave birth to 2 sons they call Ammoni and Mephibosheth. That's the second Mephibosheth in the Bible. Now, because the children of Israel have sinned, because there was famine in the land, and David had to go and inquire from the Lord, and that what can he do to overcome this famine? And God told him that it was because of the blood that the house of Saul has spilled. So he asked the Gibeonites. The Gibeonites were from Joshua 9, that they deceived the children of Israel, that they said they were coming to, be their friends and things like that, because God had already told them to be flushed out. So they lied. But in not knowing that they lied, the elders of the Israelites did not inquire of the Lord then. So Joshua signed a peace treaty with them that they were not going to be killed, but they would be steward in the house of the Lord. So, maybe because of what Paul did not do to the Amalekites by sparing the wives and the chiefs and things like that. So he went ahead to be consumed with his own zeal, Bible says, and he killed them. So now, God now told David that was the reason why there was famine in the land. So David now asked the Gibeonites, what do you want me to do? The Gibeonites said that we don't want silver and gold. We don't want the blood of any person. Save 7 sons of Saul. So David had to give them Ammoni and Mephibosheth, which belongs to Rizpah, and 5 grandsons of Merab. That is Michal's children. So they killed them. But what I want to bring out of this is this. Listen to me. This woman was innocent. That's number one. All of us look at David as David after my own, a man after my own heart and things like that and like that. I looked at it. When he inquired of the Lord, God did not tell him go and kill the children of Israel. The children of Saul. He just said it was because Saul killed. And the Gibeonites had already told him, we do not want blood of anybody. We do not want silver and gold. But David went ahead to it. So I sat down, I was like, that could be selfish. Because he might probably look at the children of Saul to be threats to him. Is that correct? No, check it. He might be, I'm sure that's why David did that. Yes, it was an opportunity. But God did not tell him to go and kill. After he killed them, the famine did not stop. That's how I concluded like that. After he killed them, the famine did not stop. The famine stopped after what Rizpah did. The Bible says after they've been killed, they hung them on a tree. They did not allow their bodies to be buried. And in Israel, it is a taboo to kill somebody and not bury the person before sunset. But they were there for like 5 months to 6 months. So I'm bringing the selflessness of Rizpah into this place that she was there all through guiding that nobody will come and, jackals or animals will not come or vultures will not come and devour those dead bodies until when David heard and they buried his children. So 2 things. Rizpah, Bible says after they buried them with Saul and Jonathan, Bible says that and the famine ceased. So if she was selfish, she should have just allowed them, okay, let the body rot on the distance. But because of her selflessness in guiding all those things, they were made, the famine returned to them. So my times are, I really cannot give much. I think the practical instructions that I've given are taking too much. So on a final note, and I'm closing with this, because of the selflessness of Jonathan, Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son, was spared because David did not release him to be killed, and he got glorified in the palace, and I will know. So on a final note, I would share one story with this thing. Sorry, a lot of things I do here. Okay, I think before I do, can I just take 2 minutes? I have suggested selfless act that I think we can do because this is very important. Look around the church. As I said, we should talk to ourselves. There are certain things you can do for the church. Nobody needs to know about it. You can look around and ask, okay, I can foot the bill for the fuel expenses in the church. I can help with the lightnings, the bulbs or something. You can visit the orphanage and give things. You can look for somebody and pay the person's school fees. You can sponsor a child to school. You don't need to, do it here, and you don't need to have a reason to do these things. These things will come a long way to help you. When Cornelius had issue, Bible says, your memorials have come up. But when he did it, he was just doing it for himself. But the memorial, Bible says he came up. That was spoke for him. So the last story I want to share is about my wife. I will share it. Even if they will penalize me. She taught me selflessness. She taught me selflessness. When I met her, I won't tell her how we met. I should tell you. Should I tell them how we met? Should I tell them how we met? Should I tell them how we met? Okay, I should tell them. Okay, I should tell them. They are coming to chase me, but I will say it. Don't worry. I met my wife on the internet. Okay, you are surprised. Ayo wanted to know. Ayo has been asking me that how did I meet my wife? So I met her on the internet at a site they call meetchristians.com. So I wasn't doing Facebook. It was meetchristians.com. What I had in mind was to reach out to her with the word. Okay, I won't say, I think my time is up. They don't want to tell the story. Thank you so much.